does this have to Uganda? And if you're to look at the situation where most of the Ugandans were feeling like what was showcased at the Dubai Expo wasn't worth it. But surprisingly, Zambia has agreed to import Uganda's dairy products. This time around, starting with the powdered milk. After Kenya actually returning back our milk, dairy products, look at when Kenya returned back our beans as well as our maize flour, saying these things are not of the rightful standards. So at the end of the day, you can agree that this is the challenge that we have as a country, and mainly when you have a neighbor and you're trying so much to export something to them and you feel they are the rightful people to accept it first, but at the end of the day, or to your own surprise, they fail to take it. They fail to take it up. So it's the same situation here. Zambia agrees to import Uganda's milk as Kenya's ban of Uganda milk points to flaw in soft diplomacy. Let's first actually look into this. Kenya, in March 2021, if we are to take back a little drop, if we are to look at the situation, at the end of 2019, before we even reached the pandemic, Kenya refused entry of milk from Uganda. Its largest trading partner in the region, that is Uganda, has always been the largest trade partner because of the imports and the exportation. The two countries have always been. So more than a year later, this dairy war remains unsolved, and even till now, talks are still ongoing. Dialogue after dialogue, memorandum of understandings coming up, being initiated, nothing comes to an agreement. As part of the East African Community Common Market Protocol is concerned, Ugandan products that are produced in the country are not yet permitted, were permitted to enter Kenyan markets without hindrance, not until 2019. Uganda milk exports in 2018, if you had to just throw back a little bit, totaled up to $131 million, which is 74% of the $96 million which was now. If you were to look at that, 74% of the $131 million which is 96 million, was exported to Kenya, according to data from the United Nations COMMODITIES, which shows you that the two countries have been good partners in terms of trade. Away from the political blood and the social aspect, but also the economic part of it, we have always been good to go. In 2019, Uganda exported dairy products worth $135.9 million, according to the Ugandan government statistics. The figure is triple what the country earned in 2015, and the country actually earned around $45 million in 2019, and in $45 million in 2015. So if you look at what it doubled in 2019, it was triple this amount. Milk production also increased to 2.7 billion liters in 2019 from 2.08 billion liters in 2015. But by 2018, Kenya began to poke holes in the cheap imports of Uganda's milk, just like when you had that Kenya's always had this issue saying that our goods are not of high quality. Imagine when you have your neighbor and you are a business owner, or you're dealing with your business and they've always been buying from you, and you're dealing with tomatoes, you're having these commodities that I use at home, foodstuffs at home, and your neighbor comes out to say, well, your products are good, but I feel today I'm not going to buy them. The first, that is actually going to be a sign, that is going to be a shocker for you. First and foremost, you're going to ask yourself a question, why? It is always going to be why. Is it that it's at this time or this era that we are not good, this person of mine is not going to buy from me? So in a situation when Uganda has always had Kenya as a trade partner or as a brother in crime, a trade partner of all businesses, this time around Kenya says, we are no longer going to import any milk from Uganda most of the powdered milk or any dairy product from Uganda because of substandardness. This puts Uganda as a country into a crisis. It puts a bad image, or it portrays a bad image onto a country which is notably known to have agriculture as its backbone. For instance, if you have to look at situations where we've always looked at Uganda being the backbone of the economy, that agriculture has been the backbone of the economy, and you have Kenya, and every time you want to export something, the people who want to import these products will have to look at your neighbors. How have your neighbors responded towards your products? What has been their response? How have they been taking up your products? Have they been buying these products? Or you've only been forcefully imposing on them? They look at the statistics. They look at what is your exportation strategy? How have you been exporting? Look at the reports that are coming up. How does Uganda export a various product? Because back in the day, we used to export a lot of coffee and cotton. But as we speak now, coffee is still up there. But the question is how is cotton? Because our textile industry, regardless, is growing in one way or the other. But then we also want to see that even exportation grows. Because this time around, if you look at the country, Uganda, our import strategy is not that good because we import more than we export. We import relatively a huge amount. Or we could actually put it in a percentage, that our percentage of importation outbeats that of the exportation. Rather, yes, our percentage of the exportation is lower than that we import, because we tend to import too many products, and of which some of them are actually being produced here. Still with the situation, since March, the milk blockade has been extended to include maize imports from both Uganda and Tanzania. So Kenya, this very year, also did not refuted the importation of maize flour and beans of Uganda. Those are scenarios where, again, our agricultural sector was put into the spot. And the question was, what is not happening? What is going wrong with our country? Our country is one that never ceases to surprise or amaze in some way or the other. But then when we look at some cases, I feel it is worrying for the economy, worrying for the future as well. Because we're looking at the way that the future generation is going to benefit from the situation. But if we continue with this strategy, we may not have room for that. So I was just throwing back to the situation when Kenya banned Ugandan milk points to flow. It was actually in a soft diplomacy. And if you have to look at what we've actually got, with the due course of situation, Kenya actually saying, no, we are no longer going to be taking this from the situation. And away from that, let's look at this. When Ugandans are still worried about how their dairy produce is going to get the market, where is the market now? Zambia comes in for the rescue. You see, there is always something called the rescue team, and this time around the dairy farmers have a reason to smile after the government alternative market for their milk is Zimbabwe. There was a time we looked at Morocco, because now Morocco is also going to be importing thousands of liters from Uganda. So which shows you that we have the availability. If you look at the milk in Uganda, it's here in plenty. We travel to the western part of Uganda. Most of the homesteads are dealing with in pastoralism, not only in western parts of Uganda, even in the central part. People are dealing in agriculture, have settled making sure that they deal in cattle rearing or pastoralism. And if I'm to look at these people claiming that maybe our products are not worth it, we do know that the dairy sector of Kenya may actually be quite better than ours, simply because if you look at most of the dairy products being imported in the country, and you look at the mark that they have, or the standard mark they have, represents the Kenya Bureau of Standards. That is the KEBS, just like the UNBS of Uganda. Mainly, most of the dairy products, whether powdered milk, whether yogurt, whether processed milk, and all those products, butter, margarine, and all those products that you can actually think of in the line or in the context of dairy products. So you can see that here we were providing market because of we have the quality, we have the quantity, and I guess if you have the quantity, still the quality has to be there, because I believe Uganda, being known for being good in agriculture, just explains itself that the quantity, or rather the quality of what we produce is way above that of other countries. So I guess this is actually coming in as a shocker, because if you had Kenya, which has been your closest neighbor, your closest business partner, denying you a chance to actually export your products there, it actually scares you or worries you, and then you're like, where am I going to import this time? Where am I going to export this time around? And here, Zambia comes in as an alternative, ready to give Uganda the platform. Zambia agreed to import Uganda'S milk as the Kenyan authorities continue to block Uganda'S milk and dairy products because for them they are citing poor quality. And according to Frank Tumwebaze, he says, if these investors or if other countries feel that our products are not of good quality, the best way to know that a product is not of good quality is for you to test it. Import it. After importing, put it onto the market. Look at the response from the people. Look at what the citizens of your country, or what is the response of the citizens towards that same product. It is what it's going to give you a picture of whether the quality of the product is lacking or it is up there, or maybe with time it's actually going to catch up. If you look at when Kenya decided to block Uganda'S milk, and it's actually decided and it's still continuous, even up to now. If you look at the trade dialogues that are continuously going to take place between Uganda and Kenya, even in November, there was one which was slated to November as a way of mitigating the situations, to see that both countries can come to an understanding in that Kenya benefits and Uganda benefits. Where does Kenya benefit? You're getting market nearby from your closest neighbors. And Uganda, you're getting a ready market. When you're exporting, you have ready market from your neighbors. So clearly, it is a two-way advantage. But when Kenya continues to block Uganda'S milk and dairy products, this has prompted the government of Uganda to begin searching for a possible market outside the East African community. Because most probably, we've looked at countries like Morocco, and we get to understand that they will be importing our milk. But this is it's just the beginning, and you have to look at it in a wide scope to see that you have various markets at the end of the day. Because if Morocco also puts us in a situation Kenya has put us, then where are we going to run to? We need to have a lot of plans we have to get rescue plans or plan B. You always have to come up with a plan B, plan C, to say that if this has failed, then I have an alternative. And make sure the alternative is actually giving you the same energy or giving you the same financial benefit than the other alternative, or as the other person you've been dealing with. Whether it is the same or even quite higher, may definitely be relatively smaller, but then if you are good to go, it is better for you. The Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Frank Tumwebaze, recently flogged off the first consignment of 50 tons of powdered milk destined for Zambia. And these ones belong to a certain company, that same company that showcased milk at the ongoing, which is actually still showcasing the ongoing Dubai Expo in the United Arab Emirates. And which shows you that this time around the government is actually coming to prove Ugandans wrong, that most of you are coming out to throw shade to the government that we have a lot of things to showcase. Why do you showcase powdered milk? But we're looking at the market, and it being given in Dubai, it is the same scenario. They would want to import that powdered milk from Uganda, because a fellow of mine who is actually working in Dubai says one of the products that have flooded different supermarkets in Dubai, or different retail shops in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, include powdered milk coming in from different countries. not only in Africa, but different countries. And also the people in Dubai also have companies of this powdered milk. But if you're giving them quality, that from Uganda, where you have the cattle just from here, it is just processed to powdered milk. At the end of the day, believe me, these people will look at it and say, yes, this is good quality coming in from Uganda. They are rich in cattle. They have good breeds of cattle. I think it is high time we pick this. So following up on the situation, it is high time, I guess, Ugandan farmers or dairy producers can actually look into Zambia to realize that, yes, now we have our market set on board. That is Zambia. And now we can export as much milk as we can, unless when the country of Zambia is going to limit, or the producers of Zambia, or the traders, or those in the economy of Zambia are going to put a limit onto that. The weekend, the minister flagged off the first consignment of 50 tons of powdered milk that were destined for Zambia, and they're already in Zambia. Dairy farms countrywide have a reason now to smile because, yes, there is market. Since December 27, 2019, Kenya, which was an option, blocked our milk and dairy products, citing quality. And these are claims the local producers in Uganda have always come out to refute. And as a result, the government has said, okay, let's look for other alternatives. Let's look for other producers that are going to import our milk to prove the Kenyans wrong. Because the idea here is to prove someone wrong that, no, you said my milk is out of the standards or it is poor quality. But then other people are actually enjoying it. Some people are actually buying it. The Zambian Coca-Cola Beverages Limited has made an order of 700 metric tons of powdered milk each year from Pearl Dairies, Uganda. So that is the Zambian Coca-Cola Beverages Limited. I think it is the same that takes through Coca-Cola production, just like the Century bottling company here in Uganda. So look at it. If you look at someone making an order of 700 metric tons of powdered milk each year, this is actually giving room for other companies in Uganda to actually set up, because now we are quite assured that we have the market. If one major company is going to be exporting 700 tons of dairy milk or 700 tons of powdered milk, I guess at the end of the day, it is helping us as a country to know that we now have market. That is part one. There is an opportunity for establishment of other companies, and there is even chance for these Ugandan companies to actually get a base in Zambia, because if they will look at the situation of the charges and what have you and the cost, they will actually relatively say, no, what if you come up and establish a company in Zambia? We're just giving, if we're to give an example of Pearl Dairies, and they're given a chance to come and establish a company in Zambia. And at the end of the day, after establishing one in Zambia, it is creating employment opportunities for Ugandans in Zambia, the Zambians, as well as some Ugandans here who can actually travel to Zambia and work. Still, looking at how our trade is going to be boosted and looking at the strength of the economy, which is actually going to get back to pre-pandemic levels. So I guess it is high time we as a country embraced such markets, because it is not only beneficial to the Zambians because we are sending them milk and dairy products that they are going to use and selling the different retail shops, different markets, or different, let's say the Coca-Cola beverages going to use in the manufacturing of maybe the Minute Maid and what have you, other dairy related products there, because Coca-Cola has a Minute Maid that is a milk food boost. Yeah, that is milk, having milk in there. So Tumwebaze congratulated the Pearl Dairies company for taking an initiative to invest in a state-of-the-art processing plant with the capacity to process 800,000 liters of milk every day. So, and look at this. If you were to say competition, there is no way you're actually going to engage in some economic activities if you're not ready to compete favorably with the available market. Because every other day, the demand for a certain product is going to increase. So at the end of the day, you can see, I think Pearl Dairies was ready for such an opportunity. Someone who actually sets up an art processing plant which has a capacity to process over 800,000 liters of milk. I think this particular person can go ahead to supply 700 metric tons of powdered milk each year to Coca-Cola beverages in Zambia. And away from even Coca-Cola beverages in Zambia, look at other sectors in Zambia that will still need the same milk. So this goes back to our local producers here in Uganda, regardless of whether you're in the dairy market or you're in the field of the dairy or the field of milk processing. It is up to us to understand that if we have market for these products, how are we going to utilize it? And do we have the equipment to compete with the other producers, not only in Uganda, but also look at an approach in on the continent? Can you compete favorably with the other producers in the East African Community Bloc, for instance? Can you compete with other producers on the African continent? Because now we are not only looking at what is happening in Uganda, we are also having our eyes set onto the continent, because at the end of the day, if we can export most of our products, we are giving room for production to increase in Uganda, and we're giving room for some foreign money to come through here and for other investors to realize that there is a lot of business in Uganda as well, creating room for the growth of the economy, I guess so, isn't it? Away from that, let's head into a break. When I do return, I'm concluding with the matter and still having more of this situation and getting deep with this story. This is Smart Main's Business.